You guys have always kind of made a point of having the academy kids around, but it does seem like right now you have a lot of these younger guys really pushing for minutes. What does that do to the group? Just the veterans and the young guys in general, all of them kind of pushing each other and having that younger group around.
Well, it does a lot of things, Matt. I mean, I could talk for a long time about that. Number one, it's a great experience for the young kids. We've tried to get, Obed, Danny was 15, Reed was 15 last year. We're trying to get kids acclimated to our training environment a little sooner so they see what it's like, they feel what it's like, because it's kind of intimidating. The first time Raul yells at you, or, back in the day, Roman or someone like that would yell at Danny Leyva. I mean, it was hard, but he had to overcome that. We were actually watching to see who doesn't shy away, who actually takes the information from a senior player and, can apply it. Make sure that, the work that they do is good, because the senior players will not take it too kindly if the young players don't do the work. And then the speed of the game, the tactics, the technical pieces, the listening to the coaching staff and all that, it's been good for the young players there. And then you flip that around for the senior guys. I mean, the senior guys have always been pretty good in this franchise. I mean, they've always spent time with some of the young guys. Raul, Nico, everybody, the goalkeeping staff. I mean, it goes throughout the club. They get it. Look, they'll be a little grumpy if the young kids don't perform, but overall, when they get back in the locker room, they try and help the young kids. So I think it's good.
And all of these guys coming in, I mean, is this out of the necessity of having so many holes in your roster right now, or do you think it's also
It's
just,
both.
Yeah.
It's my wish that we, like I said, get the kids out earlier to get a taste of the environment. We're talking to Henry, talking to Wade. In years past, we would take a player for a day because we needed a player for that day, for the numbers to make sense for that particular training day. Now what we try and look for is, okay, is there a block of time, like a 3-week block of time for Obed to stay with us, or Juan to stay with us, or last year with Reed, and I know it was COVID last year, but Atencio, we said, okay, we're gonna keep Josh with us. Yes, we know that Defiance is a good vehicle for some, but it's not always the only way to develop kids, right? Get them in the training environment. Let's see what they do.
What was the conversation about, or like, with Alex and him rejoining the club?
Just welcome home.
Just
Hurry up.
Sorry.
Get your boots on.
What did you think of his performance?
It was very good. Yeah, I watched some of his games. I mean, it was good. He represented his country well.
For some of the young players, when they step up to the first team, they can be overwhelmed in like their demeanor. What did it mean to you when, like, Josh Atencio, when Raul got fouled against Austin, Josh rushed to his defense? Having that kind of presence from one of your teenagers out there, what did that mean to you seeing that moment?
Dave, it's a great question, because I think in my press game notes in the loss to Sporting KC, I made mention of that Josh doesn't like losing. He got kind of pissed towards the end of the game. He's a little, on edge a little bit because we were losing. And defending your teammates, yes, is a must. You have to make sure that it's not just show, that you're not doing it just for the wrong reasons. You have to make sure that it's, okay, what's going on here? Can Raul handle himself? I'm going to be here just in case he can't. I don't want yellow cards, unnecessary yellow cards. We don't want to have mass confrontations. I mean, there's some nuances there. But yes, I enjoyed his coming to his teammates' aid, and I enjoyed that he doesn't like losing.
Can he be a little bit of a conduit between the rest of that Defiance and Academy group that is coming up to you, in that he's been here a couple years, former captain?
Yeah, but sometimes that's just, people are who they are. Maybe that's just the way Josh is. Danny Leyva is such a nice kid that I doubt he's ever going to come Ozzy Osvaldo. I mean, he's just not. He's going to be a different number 6. So, I think it's just within the certain players. I mean, I'm looking at Juan over there. I mean, Juan is a technically good, left-footed, crafty, good player. I'm not going to expect Juan to stick up for Raul. I mean, he just doesn't have it in him. But, yeah, I mean, Josh, Cody Baker, some of the other guys that are a little bit hard-nosed, for sure.
Garth had a injury update for some of your key players. Looks like they're going to be out for a while. So, what's the urgency of the kind of the status of the roster right now as far as getting some players in?
I'm sure they are working very hard at that. We know that the window is done next Thursday. Everybody's aware of that. So whether it's a trade like Mark Anthony Kay, or whether it's a signing and all of that, they're working very hard on that. The beauty that we have is, Nico looked very good today. Will Bruin wasn't out here because he worked hard the previous 2 days. Shane has come back. Nuhu's back on the field again. I mean, there are some signs that it might not be fall before we get some of these guys back. Obviously, Steph was the other one that Garth talked about. I mean, he's on a strict protocol because of his injury, because of the blood thinners. But he was out here working with Tommy, and he looks good. So we'll get guys back. I'm confident we'll get guys back, and I'm confident that, we'll do a good job and try and upgrade the team when it's the right player, the right price, the right fit. We'll do it.
With a player like Alex, is he of the stature now that it's a given if he's available, he'll be able to get the start on Saturday?
Nope.
And why would that be?
Because that would ruin his career. Because if he's just handed things, then it doesn't work. Alex has performed way up here this year. Way up here. Why is that? You have to ask him that. My reason for that is, look, he came into camp without a contract. He wanted to prove something to whomever, me, Garth, the team, himself, that he can play at this level. I think he has accomplished that. So if we let our foot off the gas now, Jada, that's not good coaching. We've got to keep pushing him. He might, just to finish that, he might even have a higher ceiling than what we've seen. So why would we stop pushing him?
And that kind of is what my question was earlier, is just that, did he look any different out there?
Yeah, he's got an air of confidence around him. I mean, he feels like he's an accomplished international now.
Coach, we talked a little bit about perhaps this being a soft reset, a small reset. I'm just kind of wondering how that kind of played out in the last couple of days in today's training.
Was that your idea? Whose idea was that?
Yeah, well, I asked about it.
Yeah, soft reset. I mean, we got after him a little bit this morning, just made sure that we understood that we don't like losing. Yeah, you can have it a blip on the radar, all of that sort of stuff. But I asked him in the locker room after the game to do a little bit of reflection on the performance, on their performance as an individual and as a group. And reflection's a funny word, because you can say, okay, this was a one-off, and put your pen down and then walk away. Or you can say, okay, yeah, we didn't like this. I wasn't playing at the level I want to play at. Why? Was it their team? Was it our team? Was it me? You can do a little bit deeper reflection, and that's the reset button I want them to hit. It doesn't have to be anything dramatic, but it's them. It's themselves, holding themselves accountable first, and then holding their teammates accountable. That, to me, is a good exercise that all of us have to do. You always have to reflect on the job you do, even if you're a sports writer.
With tomorrow, there's a Defiance match. You just had a bunch of those guys training with you for the past few weeks when they were off, playing with you. Do you focus a little harder on that one, just to see how some of those...
We focus hard on Defiance all the time. Wade and I get along great. We talk about lineups, players. Henry's in our meeting every day. Steve Cook's in our meeting almost every day, the 17 coach. We're connected. We're connected from here to here. There's always communication going on about who's going to play, and if they're going to play for Defiance on Thursday and start, then they wouldn't be in my training session. They'd be over with Wade.
I guess what I'm saying is to just see how some of those that return to Defiance after being with you, just do you take a little extra?
Yeah,
focus?
we always watch the games. We'll either watch it live or we'll watch it. I like watching a panoramic view because it gives you a little bit more insight, the tactical feed. So, not that the broadcasters there at Defiance are not good, but I like the bigger view. I'll give you one example. So Reed has done really well down at Defiance, playing in that pocket, and that has translated up to us in the first team, and we watched that transformation very closely.
San Jose's coming up. They managed to kind of turn it around, get a couple of draws. They kind of switched to a 3-man or 5-man back line. What do you expect out of them?
Away from home, they played with 3. At home, the last game, they played with 4. So we'll see what they do. But it's always a tricky team just because of the way Mateus likes to play. But they have gotten some positive results on the road, some draws. Maybe the home result wasn't great, but, that's MLS. He always gets them to be competitive. You always know you're going to be in for a bite, a battle. So it'll be a hard game.
Both against Minnesota, we going over the game yesterday. There were some issues coming out of the back with some passing. Just kind of wondering if that's something you guys kind of touched up on.
We'll work on some of that tomorrow. Today was a work day. We'll work on it tomorrow.